Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Thank you. Now enjoy the show.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in again to another episode of RAERAEs Review, where I'm going to let you know what happened on The Equalizer on CBS, Season 5, Episode 12. You know, it's my favorite. I love me some Queen Latifah. I love this show. I love a murder mystery. You know, I love a good clue game. You know, we all love, the Murder, She Wrote, the Columbos, Perry Mason, all the greats. You know what I'm saying? And of course, if you love the Equalizer trilogy with Denzel Washington, this is a play on of that. And I can't wait for them to get together. Oh, I can feel it's going to happen. Like she has to. Now, again, the first season, I didn't hear any linkage, Linkage, between this and the movie, because, it's a play on of the movie. However, if you have, let me know. But from where I stand, if they could get together, like like his niece or whatever, whatever the case is, I would love to see that happen. And perhaps now we do know there's a part 4 of it's going to, what they call a 4-part movie, quadrilogy. Child, don't give me the line. I don't know more than 3. The trilogy. So if whatever it is, if the 4th installment of The Equalizer with Denzel Washington, the movie, of course, if she's in it, if these people are in it, that would just be awesome. Or perhaps we see a cross, not contamination, but like like they cross paths in some way. Like perhaps, how, if you've been following this season, how both Robin and Detective Dante, her new boo Marcus, have been following the same arms dealer and drug dealer Salazar. It will be like something similar to that. I think that would be so cool. Anyway, okay, so this episode got Harry draws in a bunch, right? Harry's the computer investigator extraordinaire. So he likes a good, solve it. And this is based off of some old school myth and we, who done it and could it be or couldn't it be buried treasure type of thing. But we find out that it's somewhat real, right? Of course, because it's on the show and we're going to find out what happened. So, of course, I always give you a little premise. You know how the beginning of this show starts. They let you know what happened and why Robin is doing what she's doing. So at the beginning, we see this professor running up the stairs like, oh my God, what's going on? And it looks like his job, but it's actually his home. I mean, he's a professor, long-standing, tenure, all that good stuff. He's running from somebody and he locks himself in his study. And he hears the noise, now again, he's a professor of ancient archaeological, just old time. And he got all kind of stuff in his office. And it looks like a library. That's why I was like, is he at work? But no, he was at the hizzy. And so again, he locked himself in his office. And then he hears a noise within his office. Of course, they're in New York. So, how those rooms could be, like those pocket doors could close and be a whole new room. It could lead to the next level. It's just very, here goes that very again. I got to get that very word out of my vocabulary. His house is designed, I believe, like a normal brownstone. open the door, it goes over here, it goes over there, it leads you all around. It's a very here I go down. You understand what I'm gonna do there again? It's a luxurious house. Anywho, wood everywhere, just ancient and old and beautiful. I love brownstones. A lot of us do. Anywho, he hears a noise. He grabs this old sword, probably from ancient China somewhere, or maybe Japanese. Where do swords come from? Is it that was Japanese sword? Anyway, an ancient sword, and it looks exquisite. It looks expensive. It looks like it cost probably $2 million. Here I go. It's a exquisite looking piece of cutlery. So he grabs it, goes to hear what the noise was, opens the pocket door, nothing. Then he turns around, and there you go. We see the silencer pointed towards him, and there he is laying on the ground, child. Rest in peace, Professor. So Harry gets the call or the text and lets Robin know we got a job. And so, at this time, she goes over to the daughter of the deceased. She's the client. Her name is Ariel. She believes he was murked for something specific. She says that she received his research and a specific note, and they haven't even spoken in over 3 years. So, she says she believes he sent that to her for fear of this, happening. And, we going to believe it because we know it's going to be true by the end of the show. Again, his home looks like a Sherlock Holmes a scene, and yeah, so her name was Ariel, and she's very young, and he looks very old. That don't make no, never mind. Anyway, so then they go investigate his job, and they go to his colleague, meaning Robin and Detective Dante. They go to the colleague, and the colleague says, well, he said he was being followed, but I didn't believe him. Ain't that nothing? Here we go. So the colleague overhears what Ariel repeated to Robin and Detective Dante. Again, I may call him Marcus, or I may call him Detective Dante, same person. And sometimes I may say Queen, or I may say Robin, same person. Anywho, so the colleague overhears what the daughter told Robin and Detective Dante as they're talking about things, as he's explaining ancient this and old this and yada yada. And so he had to be, telling the truth, because now he ain't living no more, right? And the professor says, well, what could be in his journal would probably lead you to, to the goal. So here we go. Gold. So apparently there's some myth or buried treasure situation that has been handed down through Masons and through top religious folks throughout the centuries. And apparently this deceased professor knew about it. So they're saying that the professor was murked off because they believe he knew that they believed, meaning the murderers, believed that the deceased professor knew where it was. So they were looking for specific items. And when this colleague mentioned he's always writing in his journal, the colleague is trying to get Robin and Detective Dante to get him the journal so he can help them more. Ain't that nothing? Now, just by listening to that, you can already tell, okay, so this colleague may be a part of the folks that took him out. But at any rate, he's trying to find a goal too, since the deceased colleague was very well trusted in this community of folks, and yeah, working for archaeological organizations, finding things. And again, he has a whole gamut of archaeological finds. And of course, if he's looking for gold, well, shoot, it got to be, since he found every doggone thing else. I mean, so anywho, the colleague want to know where the gold was hidden. So then Robin and Marcus figure, okay, so if this is known, then perhaps Ariel is, in danger. We got to go back to Ariel's house. But by then, they've already put an officer on her, considering, in the midst of everything going on, they already dispatched someone to be outside of her home. But when Robin and Marcus get there, after talking with the professor's colleague, they notice that Ariel's house, her front door is open. Child. Next thing you know, they see her on the floor, laid out. And then the bad guys are pretty much just left out of there. So pretty much they were there pretty much at the same time. And as they're looking out for Ariel, seeing if she's alive or not, she's alive. She just knocked out. And the bad guys are literally leaving out of the alleyway behind the house. In that same vehicle that was noticed outside of the professor's home is the same vehicle that skeeted out of that alleyway. So they know, it's something going on for real, for real. So Ariel comes to, and they're asking her questions. So we spoke with a colleague, and we think there may be a journal of sorts. She said, well, my daddy always wrote in his journal. I got some video. Again, she ain't seen her daddy in 3 years. So she figured out where to find a video of her and her daddy where she remembers he was writing in his journal. She don't know what a journal is, child. So they get the video, send it to Harry, of course. Harry looking through it. There's some writing, but they can't figure it out just with the naked eye. And you know who about to find out every doggone thing there is to know about what's in that journal, or at least what's on that page, right? So next we see Harry investigating all the clues. He's finding out all of what's going on, and he's real excited again, because this right here is his wheelhouse, on top of knowing all the different hacking things. That's pretty much how he came into this job. If you don't know the history of Harry, he got caught by them letter folks, not letter folk as in LGBT, QIA. No. I'm talking about DEA, CIA, those those three-lettered folks, those different agencies, government agencies. So anyway, he got caught, and pretty much with the help of different allies, he was let go, and he just does this to help her. And he's allowed to at the moment, due to, some friends of his and Robin. So he's allowed to, as long as he ain't doing what he did before, you know what I'm saying? Getting into certain letters, them 3 letters, if you know what I'm talking about. As long as he ain't going back in they backyard, side yard, front yard, he's good. So anywho, so Harry's real excited because he starts talking about his childhood and remembering this story, and didn't really think it was real, but now it is, because of course the whole situation is presented in front of him, and he is just too excited. Mel is just excited that he's excited. They just love each other, so whatever they're happy about, they just gonna support each other. To me, it's exciting too. I love a good murder mystery. That's one of the reasons why I love the show. So anywho, Harry is investigating all the clues and everything. So now him and Mel are looking for a chessboard according to all of what they've already unlocked. And so they go to, what they call it? What happened? Well, before I remember all that, let's talk about Dee. Dee and her boyfriend are talking about Tyrese. If you don't remember, if you're not following the show, before the hiatus, Dee and her boyfriend were at this block party situation trying to raise money for a good cause. I forgot what the cause was. And come to find out, the money that was raised thus far was stolen. So they're trying to, so that was one of the big to-dos of them trying to find out through different text clues and whatnot. So they end up finding out it was Dee's boyfriend's friend, his homie. And he pulled a, Smith and Wesson out on both of them because they confronted him about it after they saw all the money in his Louis Vuitton bag, a Damier Ebene bag. If you listen, don't ever put no Louis in front of me because I will call it out. Now, I don't know the year. I ain't that much of an LV aficionado, but let me tell you, don't you put no LV in front of me and don't think I ain't gonna pay it no mind. So yeah, so there, his name is Tyrese. Ooh, that's a bad name to have, child. Anyway, his name is Tyrese, and she's upset that her boyfriend is still hanging out with him, considering what he did. So the boyfriend was like, he's really apologetic, and he's really not that type, just going around, doing things like that. It was for a real good reason. Although I understand how you feel, he wants to apologize to you. Child. Dee was like, okay. So then they meet up by the docks, by the water somewhere, and he meets up and pours his heart out. And she lets him know, under no certain circumstance should you ever do that again, because you triggered in me the first time this happened, where I lost a good friend and he lost his life right in front of me. This was last season, y'all, or 2 seasons ago. And she just, stepped to him, was like, don't you ever, I don't. And then he gets a phone call in the midst of her reading him fulfilled. He crying and she crying because she upset and hurt. And it's his little sister calling. And then he's like, and then he's talking about, don't worry, the social workers are not going to take you. I'm on my way. So now we see that he's in trouble from that phone call, it just sounds like he's trying to help out his little sisters. The social worker is in the building, making her way to their apartment, and he needs to go quick, fast, in a hurry. So by him taking that money and all that, it just sounds like he's trying to take care of his family, and their parents are nowhere to be found, and we can just only assume and imagine why. So, what else happened, child? So, then he apologized. He said, I have to go, but we can, finish this later, whatever. So he leaves, and then Dee's boyfriend was like, I want to be there for my friend. I will have to get back with you later. She's like, you know what? I'll go with you. So they all go back with him. Ain't that nothing? Dee changed quick on a dime. She heard distressed kids, and she's trusting that her boyfriend is not putting her back in harm's way. But child, he put you in harm's way when he convinced you to take your mama's car out, and you knew better. I just hope that this ain't no backfire, child, because once DC, everybody there underage. Let's just say that ain't nobody there 18. Well, actually, Tyrese, I think he is. Anywho, yeah. So then they run off, and child, they trying to beat the social worker and everything. So anyway, so it gotta be really hard. You know what I'm saying? It gotta be really hard to deal with something like that. Anyway, so back to this gold finding mission, right? So again, Harry investigating all the clues. He and Mel go and look for this chessboard situation. So they go back to one of the professor's student type people. You know how when you have, or if you've heard of big time, let's see, archaeologists, and they may have assistants, and those assistants may be a former student or maybe a graduate student. someone who's right up under them, and they have their group of people that work under them. It's like that first assistant of the executive. So pretty much that's who they go to. They go back to where the chessboard is, because all these different finds that the professor laid out in these context clues can be found. They're located here. They're located there. They're called this. They have to they meaning Harry and Mel have to decode what he's saying so that they can find exactly what he's talking about. And then they find out where that exact object is, and then they go find it. So pretty much that's what they're doing. Okay, so they go to the assistant person, and it's a woman. And so they're trying to work. So they ask her for the chessboard and everything, and she's very inquisitive and just letting Harry and Mel know, a little bit about her relationship with the professor, and how it's, his death has really changed things for the entire community. And so she's helping them, get what they need. So they get the chessboard, and they are remembering what the professor said in his context clue situation. And so they end up putting the chess pieces on the board and finding out that there's a Morse code on the board. Mel figures it out, child. I just can't believe this. And lets Robert and Marcus know where they can find the journal. So according to that chessboard is where they can find his journal. So whoever was at his home was looking for his journal, thinking it's at his home, but it wasn't. It was somewhere in a library somewhere. So then they go to the library, right? And child, they meet up and find that somebody else is in the library. Ain't that nothing? Next thing you know, it's a shootout with whoever that person is, one of the goons that was probably at Ariel's house, who probably knocked her out. So they're trying, and also they're probably at Ariel's house trying to find that journal too. So apparently the journal is the last key to finding the actual gold that's buried somewhere. And it has to be somewhere in the city because of the different travel according to all of the archaeological finds and text clues. So it's been, again, with Masons, this gold has been, I'm not sure if it's been hidden or if it's been in plain sight, but apparently it's been traveling for years. I mean, for a very long time, through different channels, again, through Masons, through top religious folks, top politicians, just people who, of course, can be trusted, who are amongst those who should know and have access to it, right? Okay, so here we are in the library, child, and Robert and Mark are doing a shootout. So next we see, they won, and rest in peace to whoever the goon was. And they're texting all this stuff to Harry, right? They find what they found. Pretty much he had it in his hands because they heard the guy before he passed say, "Here, I think I got it. Here it is." Woo woo. And of course, they text all that stuff to Harry, including the dude that they took out. Harry lets them know that he's some type of goon. He's military style and yada, yada, yada. Child. Then they trying to find out, well, if he's the one getting it, maybe he has some, funds that need to be traced so we can track, who hired him. So they're looking at everything, and they really don't. They come up against a wall with that type of situation. So Harry finds that there's encryption on the back, right? This is so exciting. I can So he and Mel pretty much unscramble all of that No, he and Mel are discussing this, and Ariel helps to unscramble because she was taught so much by her dad up until they they weren't really talking like up until 3 years ago, but the girl is good and grown. So and then within that video, we see him quizzing her, and she said it was always like that. He was testing me. He gave me a lot of he taught me a lot of information about the past, and so with all of these different context clues, she helped to decode what was on that journal. Child, it was serious. Next, we see Dee and her boyfriend helping her friend deceive social services. Child, I can't believe this. Helping to deceive social services. So the social worker comes, talking to his two little sisters. He doing hair, making sure the apartment's neat. So it's him, his two little sisters. And, the social worker's talking to him. After talking with the little girl, she's asking him, "Where is your mother? This is the second time I've been over here." And then the little girl whispers to Dee, "Don't worry. They'll never take this away." So the social worker overhears it and said, "Listen, have your mom call me today." He keeps telling her that his mom is at the store. Child. So anyway, Harry has Robin and Marcus check out what they unscrambled, right? So remember when I said that there were goons and everything? Well, we see the goons come back to, guess where they come? Come back to Ariel's house. And guess who's with them? Dr. Luttrell, the actual lady that was helping Harry and Mel with the chessboard, who was a part of the professor's team of folks. So she's in on it. Of course, it's always somebody next to you that's trying to do you in, child. So anyway, so they come back to the house to get Ariel because they see that folks is getting in the way and trying to find things, and they can't let it happen. So they then took out security outside of Ariel's house, right? Kidnap Ariel. Ariel's phone calls Robin. Immediately, Robin said, "We got the journal," and then that's when Dr. Luttrell says, "Oh, I'm glad that you did. I figured you would." So, as you see, I have Ariel's phone. Ariel's with me, yada, yada, yada. We know how the conversation go. They want, Robin wants them to let go Ariel. They're like, "Not until you give us what we want," yada, yada, yada. You know how it go, child. So they're demanding what Robin and Marcus, again, Detective Dante or Marcus. So they are demanding what they found because they know that's the key. So in the midst of looking for everything, Robin finds a gavel. That's a part of the clue because the gavel is the only thing that could break open the safe or whatever it is that needs to be open to get the gold. So they go to this specific area according to the context clues in the midst of trying to find Ariel. And they come to this specific insignia, and child, let me tell you what happened. They break through a wall and they go to save Ariel. Thank goodness they saved Ariel. Harry finds another context clue, and they pretty much they pretty much came to a dead end until Mel and Harry started to think of different clues. So they look at the note that the professor left his daughter, and they come to find out that they had to rearrange what's in the note in order for them to find exactly where the gold is. And child, they found a pillar, which was in reference to what the note said to the daughter, because there was a bunch of stuff in the note. The note was the actual last piece to the puzzle. So, of course, they saved Ariel, got rid of them folks and everything. They tied them up, waiting for Popo to come get them. And then, once all of that's said and done, they find the actual gold that's in a pillar according to this certain insignia that's on that note, referencing on that note. Child. So then we find out towards the end, of course, they saved the day. So Ariel ended up doing something with the gold, donating it to over here and over there. So pretty much doing her good deeds for the day. So now we're gonna end this with Dee and her boyfriend hear that Tyrese's mom is mentally ill and her meds are not calibrating, which is why she's been MIA. So, they just talk a little bit about it, and she let Tyrese know that if you ever need a babysitter, just let me know and I'll be available. So we're going to just assume that the mom is getting help and everything, and all that's going to be all fine and dandy. So in the midst of all this, Robin and Detective Dante are trying to get together for a cute little family meal. But she finds out that his sons are not on board because they really want him and their mom to get back together. So she just lets, Detective Dante know, listen, I understand what that could be like. At the same time, you got to let your boys know that you got a new woman in your life. You ain't going back. And pretty much she's suggesting that he has this kind of talk with his kids, giving him some pointers. Maybe he can start off with this and with that. But she's just letting them know you got a new woman in your life, and it is what it is. And that, just guiding them to move on and stop hoping for something that ain't gonna happen. And he was like, okay, I can do that. I can, talk to my boys, and hopefully before the season ends, we'll see a cute little happy family having dinner, because Aunt Vi is waiting to meet them. Dee is waiting to meet them, so, everything ended in a great way. And I would just love this show. I hope you guys are watching, or even if you're just waiting for me to tell you about it. That's good too. Let me drink this water. Hold on. So yeah, that was The Equalizer on CBS, y'all, season 5, episode 12. I hope you come back, and when you do, we'll talk about some more stuff. Until then, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'll catch you next time. Bye. All day.